Thank you very much, and we welcome you to the April meeting of the Garrett County Board of Education. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order, and please notice that all board members and the superintendent are present. If you would, at this time, join me for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. If you're able, would you stand as we say the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. Item C is to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Dr. Lamb made the motion to adopt the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Davis seconded. All in favor, let me know by uplifted hand. All board members were in favor. The agenda is adopted. Item 2 is communications, and we start off with recognitions, and the first one is the Garrett County Schools Animal Office Equipment Staff of the Month.
This month's representative is Robin Souter from Paint Lick Elementary. Robin Souter is the definition of selflessness and a huge blessing to the students and staff at PLE. There's never a time when Robin does not have a smile on her face and a positive attitude waiting for anyone who enters the office. She continually goes above and beyond the duties of her job and is one of the first to offer a hand wherever she can to help our school. Robin is loved by the students and the staff at Paint Lick and is often one of the first people they go to for help or support because they know they will always be met with a smile, kindness, and an offer of help. PLE is grateful to have Robin in the Panther family. Congratulations. Unfortunately, our teacher of the month couldn't be with us tonight, so we'll move on to the Garrett County Schools Farmers National Bank Students of the Month. Our first one is from CDR, and it's Lucian Tudor. Lucian is a preschooler, and he is such a sweet boy. He is such a delight to have in class. He's also kind to his peers and his teachers and always has a smile on his face. CDR is excited to watch Lucian continue to grow as a Bobcat. Congratulations, Lucian. Sounds better than it. Our next student is from Lancaster Elementary, and it's Grayson Moore. Grayson is another preschooler, so this must have been a great month for our preschooler. Grayson is a diligent student, showing strong effort in learning. He has excellent behavior inside and outside the classroom. Grayson is well-mannered and respectful to peers and teachers. He's a joy to have in class, and LES is glad to have Grayson as part of the Lord Nation. Congratulations, Grayson. Our next student is from Paint Lick Elementary, and it's Aiden Howe. Just got a notification that Aiden is not here, so we'll make sure that Aiden gets all of his recognition. Next, from Garrard Middle School, is Macy Fife. Macy is a sixth grader at Garrard Middle School, and she's been identified for the area of pride. First, perseverance. She does all assignments thoughtfully and does her best academically. Next is respect. She's very respectful and polite to everyone, teachers and peers alike. She has great involvement. She's focused and participates regularly in all of her classes. She shows dedication. She's on top of her classes and her work, and she's diligent about using her spare time. And she exhibits excellence. She's an excellent student, role model, and represents GMS in a positive manner. Congratulations, Macy. And from Garrard County High School is Christopher Marquez Sagasumi. Christopher is a senior at Garrard County High School and is an outstanding leader at GCHS. He earned the spot of drum major and did a great job of leading the marching band to another state appearance. He's also a hard worker in the classroom. He has the opportunity to leave GCHS with 18 hours of college credit. He will also be dual college and career ready. He hit his benchmarks on the ACT and will pass his business EOP. Christopher is a prime example of a GCHS Golden Lion, and we are very happy to have him lead our students. Thank you, Christopher, for all your hard work and leadership. He'll leave here and go to the middle school for our concert tonight. So.
All right, thank you very much. Item D is our site-based decision-making minutes, and from each one of the students, I hope my fellow board members have had an opportunity to go over those. Item C is audience comments. I don't think anyone.
We had no sign-ups.
No sign-up for that. Item D is board members. Any board member have anything you'd like to say? Then we'll move to item E, and superintendent has got some things you want to share with us.
So in your packet today, and linked for others to see, is a portrait of a learner for Garrard County Schools. We've been working on this for a little while now, and it's not something that we've done in isolation as a district. Students have been asked to contribute to this. We've asked community members to contribute to this as well. This is to help meet an expectation that comes from KDE around the area of having established a portrait of a learner. You'll notice that it's not a portrait of a graduate. It is a portrait of a learner. And so it's what we expect to have happen at all our grade levels throughout the lifetime of a student. If you look at this, you'll see that it's lists as an empowered learner, a problem solver, a collaborator, a communicator, a critical thinker, and a contributor. And you'll say, well, where does it say English, math, science, and social studies? Well, if you can do these things, then you can do those other content areas for sure. So this is part of the responsibility that we have as a district to educate our students to be the critical thinkers, the empowered learners who take responsibility for their own work. We had a lot of feedback from the students at the high school, and we appreciate them giving us that. This will become something that will be part of our website, and eventually you'll be able to go in, and as you see each of those areas, you'll be able to click on those areas and dig in more deeply into what each of those areas means. So we just want to make sure we're sharing that with you and with the community as we move forward with this idea of a portrait of a learner. Next, we have construction update. So Dave Mile from Trace Creek is here, and he's going to share some information with you.
Good evening. You have a moment to check out the screen. We've got a drone video, give you a good idea of the progress that's been going on. For once, we've actually had some consecutive good dry days, and we've been able to make some production. The football field is really shaping up. If you notice the dark circle around that, that is the perimeter drainage that's going in around the football field. They started earlier this week. On the outside edge of that, you have to zoom in a little closer or look at it tighter, but there is a concrete curve running around the perimeter of that. That'll be the curve that separates your football field from your track. And as I said, the contractor's been here and started that football drainage. That's actually piping and filter fabric. Over to the right, the lower right-hand corner is you can see the gray lines. That's the laterals for the geothermal wells. All of the geothermal wells are drilled and complete, and all the laterals are now in and started the backfilling. The geothermal vault has arrived on site, so that will be that will be going in next. If you look to the right of the grandstands that we've been looking at for a couple of months there, you can see that we've been able to complete the perimeter walls of both buildings B and C, which is the home and visitor locker rooms, and the roof trusses are now installed. As it continues on back into the baseball field is starting to shape up. We've got the three buildings, the home dugout, the visitor dugout, and the press box are full height. The contractor has formed up and will be pouring, scheduled for tomorrow, the curb that will be separating the outfield and the infield. There is a low curb there that's going to separate your synthetic turf and your grass. And if you look at the very top of the screen, as this picture comes into view, the bridge abutments and foundations have been completed. And this video is from today. The bridge did arrive this morning, the bridge substructure, and it is all set in place this afternoon. So the bridge that's going to connect us to Crab Orchard Road is coming into life. Just a brief update of all the things. I've touched on most of them. All of the drainage around the buildings has been completed and tied into the sub drainage. And our goal for the next month is to install the baseball field and the softball field backstop foundations. Those are pretty massive foundations that your backstop poles and nets connect to. We'll start on the interior concrete block walls of both of the buildings B and C, the visitor and the home locker rooms. Like I said, we're going to start the roof deck on those buildings on Monday, weather permitting. We'll continue to work with the interior plumbing rough-in on both of those buildings as the walls come in. The electrical rough-in has already started in building B, which is the home locker room. The scoreboard foundations, if you noticed in the big piece of blue equipment there that Dr. Stoll is pointing to, that is the drill that's going to be drilling the 4-foot diameter foundations for the football and baseball, softball scoreboards. So that work is going to start next week. And another big item, weather permitting, by the time we have the next board meeting, we should have the press box installed on top of the home grandstands. We've got those guys scheduled for the first of April if the weather will work with us. It's going to go in that area that he just pointed out. Any questions? It's exciting. There's lots starting to happen now. We're averaged between 50 to 70 people on site most of the week per day. So a lot of I'll apologize to the principal if we've disrupted anything, but there's a lot of people in and out now, a lot of equipment, a lot of trucks. It's just, right where we're at right now in the construction, but we're trying to keep it under control, and so far everything's, from my standpoint, I've got no major complaints, so the guys are working like they need to.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
With your all's permission, can we back up and do a student of the month?
We can.
So Paint Lake Student of the Month has arrived, and that's good. The Paint Lake Student of the Month is Aiden Howe. Aiden is a 5th grade student at Paint Lick, and he is kind, has a great sense of humor, works hard, follows classroom rules, and sets a great example for the other students in his class. Paint Lick is so proud of all of his accomplishments, and he's a great example of what a Paint Lick Panther is all about. Congratulations, Aiden.
Hope you get some good exercise tonight.
While we're finishing this, could we also back up to board comment?
Yeah.
I just would like to acknowledge the fact that White House Clinic is nice enough to bring the digital class out tonight. We got to tour that, and it was wonderful, and such a nice partnership with them to provide dental services for our students. And I understand they're going to be involved in preschool screenings, so to help the parents out. So we just want to acknowledge the fact that they shared time with us tonight, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay.
All right. So the next item is personnel changes. Those have been attached for you all to see. We've had a limited number of those this month, but they are still there for your review. Under reports, you have the treasurer's report. You've had a chance to review that, and the financial reports as well. Those are available for the public's consumption as well. Today, we have linked the bills that you have been approving throughout the last month, but they are now listed in one location. And the final report that we wanted to share today is not one that was a requirement, but we wanted to make sure that you were aware of this. Lancaster had their Family Resource Center monitoring earlier this year, and the report that came back was phenomenal. They were told that they had the toughest assigned person to do the review, and she had nothing but great things to say. So we're very proud of what the Family Resource Center is doing at Lancaster. We feel certain that if it had happened in any of our other buildings, it would have been the same thing, but we wanted to recognize them tonight for the strong work that they have put in.
Thank you, sir. Item 4 is consent agenda. If no board member wants to pull anything out, something you saw that you need to pull out, I will entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as it is printed.
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. To have a second.
I'll second.
Mr. Smith seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. Thank you. The consent agenda is adopted. And that brings us to item 5, the action agenda. And item A is to approve pay applications for high school student athletic fields and facilities.
So you have in front of you and visible for everyone the pay applications for this month. I will point out to you that this earlier this morning, in conjunction with the Trace Creek staff and our staff, we located a duplication. So the amount that you see listed there is actually $20,000 more than what we will be paying. So instead of $760, it will be $740. So we're appreciative of the fact that Trace Creek jumped in today and helped us make sure we resolve that. You see the costs, the way they are distributed there, and Trace Creek's amount as your construction manager. It would be my recommendation that you approve these pay applications for the GCHS project.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the pay applications.
Okay, Ms. Davis made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Dr. Lamb seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item A is approved. Item B is to approve BG1 for Lancaster Elementary bathroom renovations.
Back in the summer, we started the process of working through all of our elementary schools and restrooms between classes. We're now moving out into the hallways. So the first group that we're working with will be at Lancaster. This BG1 is simply for notification to KDE. It's not a requirement, but we want to make sure that they're aware of it. This does fit into your facilities plan. This is something that has been approved already as far as a need. We would like to go ahead and ask for your all's approval on this so that the work can be done. If everything works right, the work will be done over spring break. And so if with your all's approval, that's what will happen. It would be my recommendation that you approve this BG1 for the Lancaster Elementary School restroom renovations.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
David seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. The BG1 is approved. Item C is to approve creation of a special education, highly structured program, para-educator for Kennedy Robinson.
As life continues on, we discover that there are occasionally needs for additional personnel because of high needs that we have with our student population. This is for the current year and can be funded through the special ed funding that is available to us, either through IDEA or through the general special ed funding. This is a need that we have at CDR at this time, so it's my recommendation that you approve the creation of a special education, highly structured program para-educator.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the creation of the highly structured program.
Thank you. Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Smith seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item C is approved. Item D is to approve special education consultant part-time at the middle school.
First thing that I will point out to you is this is a request for a position for the 24-25 school year. Funding for this would be through the Medicaid, Medicare reimbursement procedures that we have in place. This is not a request for general education funding. It is a part-time position that we would post and hope to fill perhaps with retired individuals, if at all possible. So it's my recommendation that you approve a special education consultant position for Garrard Middle School for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Go ahead.
Mr. Smith made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hart seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item D is approved. Item E is to approve MSD paraeducator position for Paint Lake.
Again, I'll point out that this is for the 24-25 school year. Our MSD position at Paint Lick is necessarily because of the growing number of students who are in that program. It's important that we make sure we provide the supports for those students and for the staff who are there as well. So it's my recommendation that you approve the MSD paraeducator for Paint Lick Elementary for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the creation of an MSD paraeducator position.
Thank you. Ms. Davis made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hart seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item E is approved. Item F is to approve the creation of a paraeducator position for Paint Lake.
This is very similar in the sense that it's for Paint Lick and it's a paraeducator. It's part of the special education program for next year. It's just not an MSD position, but again, it's a need that exists, funded again in the same method as the previous positions that we were talking about with Medicaid, Medicare reimbursement. So it's not a general fund hit to you all. So it's my recommendation you approve a paraeducator position for Paint Lick for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the position.
Thank you. Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Davis seconded. Do I have any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item F is approved. Item G is to approve elimination of a career and technical special education outreach coordinator position.
So I've been asking for things. I need to take something away at this point. The position that we have is connected to a grant program that we had with KDE. So by eliminating this position and an individual left another position that was for student outreach as well, and combining those positions, we're going to come back in the next item and ask for creation of a position. But just so everyone knows, there is no loss of job for any individual with this elimination. There's an opportunity to move an individual into another area. So it would be my recommendation that you approve the elimination of the career and technical special education outreach coordinator position.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hart made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Davis seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item G is approved. Item H is to approve the creation of a special education employee outreach and homebound coordinator.
So we want to continue to support our special ed students who are looking for job opportunities. And there's a way for us to do this by the switch that we just made and by adding this position. At the same time, we would like to take that individual and connect them to our homebound program so that special ed students who need services have someone to provide those. So this will be a special ed trained individual who will be able to provide those services in both areas, both in employee outreach and as the homebound coordinator. So it's my recommendation that you approve the special education employee outreach and homebound coordinator for next year.
Thank you. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the creation of special education employee outreach and homebound coordinator.
Thank you. Mr. Smith made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Dr. Lamb seconded. Any questions or comments? All in favor, let it be known by the lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item H is approved. Item L is to approve revisions to the Garrett County Schools IDEA special education procedures.
This is a very small change that has been requested from our special ed department. It's simply the removal of some language from our policy to be more clear in the process that we go through in determining eligibility of students for special education services. In order to do that, we need to ask your permission to change that policy. So it's my recommendation that you approve the policy revision for the Garrett County Schools IDEA special education procedures.
Thanks, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. Do I have a second?
I can second that, the discussion.
Yes.
Okay, we are removing RTI for determining eligibility, but it will still be used
It
in
has
the
to be.
discussion
Yes, ma'am.
that would lead to that.
It
Just
still
not being-
has to be used. It's still, yeah, the state guidelines, it has to be used for all 14 eligibility areas in the state of Kentucky. But for specific learning disability,
It won't be
we
the only.
have to use RTI and register through no matter what, but we use a discrepancy table to determine eligibility for only specific learning disability.
It's good data, so we don't want to get rid of it. So I felt like that was the case.
Okay. Any other questions? Good question. Any other questions? All right, all in favor, let me know with uplifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item I is approved. Item J is to approve an MTSS coordinator for the 24-25 school year.
So this one's worthy of discussion as well. Our student population with Ukrainian students continues to grow. Many of you know that that's predominantly been on the northern end of the county, but we're seeing an influx of additional Ukrainian students now into the area around Buckeye. And we are getting more and more students staying in the school district, which we're happy about. So the population at the middle school continues to grow. We are at a deficit on how to best work with those students. So what we've come up with is an idea that we hope we can pull off. And that idea is to establish another NTSS individual coordinator to work with that population. Now, it sounds like that we're targeting specifically the Ukrainian population, and we are, but by doing this, we will also free up individuals to work with additional populations in other languages because they won't have to focus in that area. We are going to look for somebody who has a background and the ability to help us in this area. And I'm going to be very candid. If we can't find that individual, we will not fill this position. This is not a position created just for the sake of being able to hire an individual and hope that they can do the job. Unless we can find somebody who really fits this criteria, then we would want to do it. But the target would be initially with our EL population, specifically Ukrainian. They will not be stationed at a school. They'll be working with the populations across our district. So it's my recommendation that you approve an EL coordinator position for the 24-25 school year and the years following. And there would be an additional 15 extended days that we would use this individual for the summer programming to work with those students. So that's a longer motion than it needed to be, but you'll at least understand why I'm asking for that.
Okay, thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the MTSS coordinator for the next school year.
Thank you. Ms. Davis made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Dr. Lamb seconded. Now, I know we did some good explaining, but do you still have questions?
That would be general funds, right?
It would be.
Any other? All in favor, let me know by uplifted hand. Item J is approved. Item K is to approve budgeted purchase of 2 school buses.
The reason it says that it's budgeted is you've already approved a budget that includes money for 2 school buses, but because of the extensive amount of money that this entails, we wanted to make sure that you did see that and were aware of it. So this is just over ensuring that everyone knows that's what's occurring. It's not additional funds. This is money that was budgeted that you approved last year already. But I would recommend that you approve the purchase of 2 school buses for the current year.
Thanks, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Smith seconded. It's my understanding this is for next year.
Yes, but it's this year's budget.
But it's this year's budget.
Yes. It's money, it's already in this year's budget. We purchased them this year so that you can use them next year.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anybody else? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item K is approved. Item L is to approve student representative as non-voting member of the Board of Education, and this is the second reading.
This would be the second reading. You all gave us permission to move forward with this. We've attached the policy update. If you all approve this tonight, we'll be looking to Mr. Anderson and his staff to do elections for a senior to serve for 1 year. So that would come from the junior class, and a junior to serve for 2 years. That will come from the sophomore class. And then each subsequent year, a sophomore being added to serve as the junior. So they would have an opportunity to serve for 2 years. They would be a non-voting member, but they would be invited to be at a meeting like tonight. The only meeting they couldn't attend would be an executive session. We do work on Fridays before this. We'll invite them to be a part of that as well so that they have all the free information. So it'd be my recommendation that you approve student representatives as non-voting members to the Board of Education.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve non-voting members on our student population.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right. Any questions or comments?
I just think it's really, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I'm excited that this is happening because we've been talking about it for a while and, right? Move forward with it.
Thank you.
And I like it too, because it gives us an inside look, so to speak, and it lets the students know that we're really respectful of their desires and things that they feel are important to their education as well.
You know, and I'm excited too, because there's another opportunity for students to actually get involved and see what goes on behind the scenes, you know, in preparation for a school board meeting and so forth. And so they'll be a part of that. And we're all about student involvement. And we saw that played out in an excellent way last September at the regional school board meeting at the high school. And by the way, that's going to be September the 10th this year. So we're looking forward to seeing that and maybe even greater involvement this coming year. Anybody else?
It's just a wonderful opportunity for them to understand what goes on, because we're a business and what it goes, and then what they can see and learn here can be carried on in your future
Yeah.
as they have other endeavors. So it's exciting.
Anybody else? All right, all in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. It is approved. Item M is to approve a memorandum of understanding with Wilderness Education Project for the 24-25 school year.
So this is one of those situations that it's a good opportunity for the district. You entered an MOU with the Wilderness Education Project earlier this year. And basically what you're doing is giving us permission to serve as a pay site for this group. And because we do that, they will pay us to do that. So it really no cost to us. You have an opportunity to make a little bit of money here. We keep asking them if they have more than just one that they'd like us to do this with, but you'll have a chance to make about $6,100 that will go into the general fund to help offset some of the costs that are there. And all it means is we just cut a different check or an extra check each time we do a payroll. My recommendation is that you approve the MOU with the Wilderness Education Project for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Davis seconded. And now, do you have any comments or questions?
Sometimes we hesitate on making the motion because we just don't want to run over each other.
Let's take turns.
We're on the same page.
I understand that. I understand that. Thank you. All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item M is approved. Item N is to approve Women's Club donation for the scholarship fund for the high school.
The Lancaster Women's Club has given scholarship to a student from Garrard County High School for quite some time. What they have asked us to do is to manage the financial side of that, still providing a scholarship on a yearly basis. We've attached their expectations of what the scholarship would be like, but in order for us to do this, we need your permission to accept this donation from them. The donation is $13,474.05. It's my recommendation that you approve the Lancaster Women's Club donation for a GCHS scholarship.
Thanks, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Now, do I have a motion?
I will make a motion that we approve Lake Stillman's Combination for Scholarship.
Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'd like to second that.
All right, Ms. Davis seconded. Any questions?
I'd just like to say, as a former member of the Women's Club, it's really sad that we no longer meet, but the scholarship is in memory of Pat Ballard, who was so instrumental in the history of maintaining and preserving the history of Garrett County. So it's the Pat Ballard Memorial Scholarship. And with some interest, we're hoping it's $1,000 a year. So hopefully it'll be 14 more years at least that some young lady can have some funding toward her future education. So it's sad, but it's good. But there's a happy part too, that the money is being used.
Well, thank you
for
for
our
sharing
students.
that. Yeah.
And I can vote. I did check to make sure.
Yeah, we did. We talked about this earlier, where she should abstain or whatever, and it's determined that it was okay for her to be involved in the motion process. Anybody else? All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. All board members were in favor. Item N is approved. Item O is to approve Whitaker Bank providing a scoreboard for the education center.
So as you all know, the gym in this building is continuing to be used as actual performance gym, and it's time to replace the scoreboards there. Whitaker Bank has said they would like to do that. We'd like for you to give them permission to do that. And that would be my recommendation tonight, that you approve the purchase of scoreboards for the GDC by Whitaker Bank.
Okay, you've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to allow Whitaker Bank to get scoreboards for GDC.
Thank you. Mr. Smith made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Dr. Lamb seconded. Do you have any questions or comments? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. Item O is approved. Item P is to approve a contract with Pepsi.
Years ago, when I first came here in the fall of 1999, that's a scary thing to say, isn't it? We had contracts with vendors who provided rebates for the selling of product by that company. Then, as you know, there was a period of time that continues to exist where it became very difficult to use products from a soda company like Coke or Pepsi in our buildings. And so anytime we made purchases, they were just direct purchases. There were no rebates. Pepsi approached the district and would like to enter into an agreement with us that we give some money back for that process as well. It would also connect to our food service division as well, but not as much at the elementary level because there are greater restrictions for them than there is at the high school level. There's still greater restrictions at the middle school than even at the high school. However, this does become an exclusive contract, meaning that when we make purchases, including our booster clubs, that they would have to go through Pepsi to do that. So there'll be a shift in learning about that, but there's a rebate that comes with it. So we hope that the shift is one that everybody can live with, because there'll be some additional funds that are made available to our sports programs, to our food service program, and to ultimately our students throughout the district. So having said that, I would recommend that you approve this contract with Pepsi.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the contract with Pepsi.
Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hart seconded. Do you have any questions, comments? Coach?
That's why he didn't make the motion.
You think you can handle Pepsi?
In his defense, it waves like this through the years.
We used to, a long time ago, we had a constant battle between Coke and Pepsi, and they would put the scoreboards up. You know, we get scoreboards and we get coolers and everything like that, but they've kind of gone a little bit south on that now, and not as great in the rewards that we might get.
So you mentioned something, and I'll interject this. They will be providing coolers. And so when we open the new facility, we'll have new coolers that are there that you won't have to buy. So there is, I'm glad you said that, because I alluded to just rebates and things of that nature. So there are additional pieces that come through as well. Your board attorney has reviewed the contract. He had some concerns about exclusivity, so we went back to Pepsi and clarified that. Exclusive means what we do. It doesn't mean what somebody else does. So if a visitor team comes in and they have Coke on their stuff, not a problem. If parents bring things to the school to share with in a class activity or something like that, that's fine. It's limited to what we do, and so we clarified that to make sure that there would be no issue along those lines. So I want to make sure that you're all comfortable with that.
Okay, anybody else?
Just interesting to note, as Dr. Stoll was telling us, is these new coolers don't have to be filled. Any of you all sitting out there that are old enough, they got to fill coolers. You said now it's automated, they know when to fill them, they take care of it, so you don't have to actually manually put everything in the cooler. I thought that was very interesting.
So let's be careful. The coolers at the stadium probably will still be filled. It's the machines that are in the buildings.
Oh, okay,
And currently, those are being filled by our staff.
okay.
And they are automated, so rather than saying everybody shows up on Tuesday, they will come when the machines have indicated that they're empty. So the world of technology plays in here as well. I just didn't want boosters to eventually come back and say, Ms. Davis said, we don't have to do this. So,
Well, when you explained it, I didn't hear that part.
yeah,
The hard
that's
part.
on me. I apologize.
And thank you for opening up a can of worms. We appreciate it.
Well, it's a can of Pepsi, but that's
A
okay.
can of Pepsi. All right, anybody else? All in favor, let me know with lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item B is approved. And before we adjourn, please notice our next meeting is on April the 18th here at the GEC. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:41.
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Mr. Smith made the motion. Mr. Hurt second. All in favor? All board members were in favor. We are adjourned. Thank you all. And I hope you weren't watching the ball game on me.
Start.
Oh, really?
Push it back.